Welcome back to the episode, guys. What's up again? I am so grateful to be back. Matter of fact, being able to do this podcast and reach people and talk to people means so much to me. And that being said, I can't express enough how grateful I am to be able to do this podcast, to be able to have the opportunity and be able to speak to, possibly tens or even hundreds of people. Just kidding. But eventually this will take off. This will eventually reach maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of people, maybe millions of people. But the whole point of this podcast is to show you how possible it is to do something that you really want to do. And not only that, but to really start from zero, start from nothing, and to really be able to start with those humble beginnings and take off, right? Be consistent. Show up consistently, daily. As of late, I've been going through a lot, not me personally, but having to deal with a lot. My son just graduated. We had a celebration for that. We've been dealing with stuff at work, new roles that I've filled. I just recently started a new job at this furniture place. And it's taken a lot of me, right? It's taking a lot of my time. But the one thing I will say is, regardless, I'm going to show up. Now, this is episode 3. And one thing I do want to highlight on here is this is about the dip. What happens after the hype dies down? After you've told everybody, I've started a thing, I did a thing, I'm doing a thing, and everyone's like, yeah, awesome, we're gonna, subscribe or listen or do as much as we can to support you. It's after all that hype dies down, there's a dip. People will stop caring. People will wait for you to fail. People will wait to see if you stop. And that level of consistency has to step in. You are going to fail, greatly if you are not consistent. Okay? You are going to fail greatly if you are not consistent. And one thing I do want to touch on is that after a certain point, if you are not doing the thing you promised yourself, you're breaking that promise to yourself. Okay? So the one thing I do want to say is it means a lot to me to show up for myself every day. It means a lot for me to show up for you every day. And if you have an appreciation for what I talk about here, if you have an appreciation for what I do for you here, I am so immensely grateful. And for me, it's just, it's not only a treat, but it's a joy for me to be able to bring this kind of content to you because we're doing this together. We're starting together. We're doing something great together, right? And I know it's just another podcast. It's just another thing that I'm doing. But the dip, I guess you could say, has happened, right? People don't care as much. People don't want to support after a certain amount. And the dip is basically defined as an emotional low that comes from after the initial excitement fades, where most people stop because it feels quiet or hard. But you have to remember that in those quiet moments where stuff feels hard, there's a certain ingredient, this magic ingredient that you have to kind of hone in on. There's this wonderful, quiet place in the dip that you say, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to do it at all costs. Because life is going to happen. Life is going to continue to happen. The one thing you can count on is showing up for yourself. Right? I can't stand it when the one thing that I promise myself I skip out on. I tell myself I'm going to do something and I want to do it. And sometimes I get in trouble for it. Like, for instance, during important occasions, I want to go to the gym. I want to lift heavy or lift hard or be consistent at the gym. And those special occasions don't allow me the time to go. Okay? And breaking those promises are hard for myself. Now, one thing I will say is that as long as you are consistent for the most part, you can enjoy your time with family and friends and enjoy those special occasions, right? But the one thing you have to recognize is the post-start slump. There's this little thing that when you take off, there's this little slump that happens, right? You take off with such ferocity and excitement and you're all geared up, right? And then there's a post-start slump. You fall immediately into this weird middle zone between I started, I succeeded, but then it's normal and even often misunderstood to get in that little slump, in that little feeling of, okay, I've done the thing, people are happy for me, but what next? So recognize that. Recognize that and allow it to kind of absorb into your mindset that everybody has a start and everybody has an end, but the middle is what often drives you towards that end. And that end can be a successful end. It can be exciting and wonderful, and it's like you reach the finish line. Or it could be a quiet fizzle out. And I absolutely refuse to fizzle out. I refuse to stop and die out like a bad light bulb. Okay? Now, will I eventually get my studio? Will I eventually have a nicer place to do this in? Absolutely. But for the meantime, I'm going to be right here in my dining room, grinding it out, finding material to talk about, and telling you about my life and my experiences and my perspectives on things. Why? Because it means so much for me to share my life experiences with you. And it means so much to be able to reach people. Most of my time that I spend with my family, I often feel as if, I could really make a difference if, people are open to that experience. People will allow me to be a part of their lives. And if you allow me, I can definitely make a difference in your life as well, too. And it's not even about what I have to say. It's about what I'm doing and what I'm experiencing and how I'm navigating this life. It's about the way you navigate your own life as well. Because we're all part of one big giant puzzle, right? And for whatever reason, I feel as if being a part of that puzzle, you lose sight of the bigger picture. You're just a small, as I would see it, insignificant detail of that puzzle. Zoom out. Zoom out more often, because when you get a better understanding or even a better perspective of the big picture, the little details kind of fade into the background. Okay? Now, another thing I would really like to cover is motivation is not sustainable. Okay, you're not going to flip through Instagram or TikTok or Facebook and just be covered in motivational speeches and just say, yeah, I'm going to keep going. There is not enough motivation in this world, let alone social media or within your own self, to want to keep going. That's where motivation fades. It's like a sugar rush, right? So you're scrolling or you're seeing all these people do their own podcasts, or you're seeing all these people do their own fitness lifestyle thing, or you're seeing people, get rich quick and whatnot. And you're like, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to achieve that level of success? And it fades. You're like, powerless. I can't. Why? It's because that motivation is not sustainable. Okay? Motivation fades like a sugar rush. When you need something deeper to keep going, discipline is the game changer, right? Let go of reaching for motivation. There's not going to be a speech. There's not going to be a class. There's not going to be anything other than yourself at the end of the day, clinging to the promise that you've made to yourself. Discipline is going to be the one factor, the game changer, the one thing you can cling to that's going to push you to that goal line, that finish line, that success that you're reaching for, right? So keep clinging to discipline. Allow yourself to understand that once you've started something, there is no going back. There is no giving up. There is no stopping, because you're doing something bigger than yourself. You're allowing people into your life. You're allowing people to see you even at your worst moments. And you're not doing it for yourself. It's for the bigger picture. There is a certain aspect that you do for yourself. And definitely do it for yourself. But don't give up or give in to people's bullshit. Oh, well, you're delusional if you think you can make money off of this. Really? What's stopping Joe Rogan? What's stopping, all these other content creators that are making money off of their words, their verbiage, their speeches, their comedy, whatever? Nothing. It's just sheer discipline. They show up every day for themselves. Every day. And they make it fucking happen. What chance does a little guy like me have? Well, you know what? Better than someone who's not doing it. That's where I rise above. That's where my chances are much better than the person dreaming about it or thinking about it or not getting started. The person sitting on the couch. Well, you'll never have abs. Well, yeah, if I never start. If I never show up to the gym. But you know how much my chances go up the moment I go to the gym? They're a lot greater. I started my year off at 235 pounds, okay? Still pretty fat. I am now at 207, solid. And that's no easy feat. And I'm super proud of my wife as well, who started her year off in bad shape, and now she's in excellent shape, and she's grinding it out. She's staying disciplined. And that's why discipline is so important, because there are going to be plenty of days. There are going to be plenty of days where you don't feel like doing the damn thing. There's also going to be plenty of days where you feel like doing it, but life gets in the way. Work gets in the way. Kids get in the way. Why are you going to allow that to help you fail? Or are you allowing it to be an excuse? Are you allowing it to make you fail and then say, oh, well, I failed because excuse. Insert excuse here, right? The one thing I will say is that most people, not all, most people allow that excuse to be their crutch. Most people allow that excuse to be the thing that they, loathe about themselves. They hate it, but they lean on it like a crutch. Okay? But what's your excuse? What's the one thing holding you back? And if you haven't found it, guess what? Look in the mirror. It's you. And I'm not just talking about you. I'm talking about me too. The one thing that's held me back the most is me, right here. And it's because my fear of looking dumb or stupid or uninformed or ill-informed or just not ready enough, feeling not ready. You'll never be, there will never be a moment where you're ready 100%. Okay? studying and doing all that, that's great. Study. Look at the data, analyze. But also jump in, head first, feet first, however you have to. Because at the end of the day, your odds of success are much higher. They're much greater than the person who doesn't jump in and is still with their nose in a study book, still looking at the analysis, still looking at the numbers, afraid to move, afraid to jump in. The one thing I tell people is don't be afraid to start. Don't be frozen. Don't get paralyzed by the fear of, oh, I'm going to be judged. People are going to judge me. No. Now, another thing is most people forget why they even started. Why did you start? If you started and you did something, what made you stop? It's because you forgot about why you started in the first place. You have to revisit the why. You have to revisit your purpose, that reason, right? The one thing I will tell you is that most people, they lose sight of the goal because that goal is so far from where they started that they don't even look back at why they started. Revisiting your why is all about anchoring yourself in your original reason for starting. Let it guide you. Let it guide you when the hype disappears. Let it be your path, your road to success for when everybody who's cheering you on or making you feel good about the thing that you're doing goes away. Because people are not as supportive as they make themselves out to be. And that includes family, that includes friends, that includes your closest circle. Now, the one thing I will say is that your wife or your person can love you and be supportive, but they're not going to be so supportive that they go all in, balls in. You know why? They don't believe in you. You haven't shown them enough to want them to believe in you 100%. And that goes not only for me, but for everybody else. Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends, that close circle that you consider yourself, this is my people, right? These are my people. That close circle doesn't fully believe in you. They will believe in you when the results show up, when the money comes in, when things start unfolding. Oh man, I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to be a success. That's why a lot of those rappers that make it big. It's because they had this delusion, and you have to be somewhat delusional to make that happen, to bring it into fruition, right? So you have to be able to say, this is going to be my future. Then you plant your feet in the here and now, and then you help that seed that you planted grow. You plant your seed and you help it grow with consistency. You water it with consistency, being present in every moment, right? And then not allowing the negativity of other people's headspace to make an impression on your consistency. Anchoring yourself in the reason why you started is a good way to tell yourself, here's another reason why. I can't tell you how many people have folded up and packed in their dreams of doing something because they didn't have people cheering them on. And one good example is when I was going to the gym, I had nobody cheering for me. I had nobody by my side saying, you're going to fucking make it. You're going to do it. You're going to lift 405 pounds. You're going to lift 470 pounds, 75 pounds. Yeah, my max is 475. Okay. But do you know why it's so hard to keep going at the gym is because you don't have somebody by your side just cheering you on. And it's not that it's needed, but it sure fucking helps to have somebody say, hey, you know what? I believe in you. I believe that you're going to do this. And it sucks. It sucks to feel alone in your own universe. You see the vision, you have the ability to do it, and you have this gift even, right? Like, for instance, I don't know what it is about me, but people will tell me just about everything, their entire life story, just to talk. So I feel I have this innate ability to unlock something in people that makes them feel safe, comfortable, and not judged when they're talking to me. This is what started my path to wanting to have a podcast, because I feel that every person that I meet has such a wonderful story, first of all. And secondly, wanting to put that story into the world for people to gain perspective on not only this life, but how to navigate through this life. That's my why. I wanted to share my perspective, but also highlight and show people that they're not alone. You are not alone. And if you feel that you can relate to this, that's the point. That is the entire point of all of this, is that you can see that you're not fighting this battle alone. You are not walking this road alone. I'm here with you, right? But we're on different sides of the road. Now, the one thing that I often tend to do is attach myself to validation, exterior validation, like, oh, check this out, look what I did, and what do you think of it, and let's break it down, and can you tell me a little bit about what you think about this or that, right? But it's such a fleeting thing. You have to detach yourself from validation. Detaching from validation allows you to create without a border. Create as if no one's watching, no one's listening, no one's doing. Create even when no one's clapping. And that's what this is about. That's what episode 3 is about, is allowing yourself to be a creative. Create when no one is clapping for you, no one is caring, no one's listening. Create. I think it's so sad that people will only do something if they think other people are going to like it. I want to do something that people will like and love, or even hate, or find annoying, or think is stupid, because that's polarizing. You don't like my opinion? Fuck you. Right? That's the whole point of this, is that at the end of the day, if you don't like what I have to say, change the channel, change the station, don't fucking listen. But, someone will. I'm going to have my community, my people here by my side listening. I'm going to have my people tuning in, subscribing, liking, and being a part of what this is. And truth be told, I'd rather have people here that enjoy what I have to bring to the table, no pun intended, instead of people who are here to criticize, mock, or just to straight up talk shit. But you're welcome to listen too. But you have to detach from validation. Don't let metrics determine your momentum, because you will lose momentum very quickly once you don't have those metrics. People listening or talking about what you talk about, right? Or people, constantly telling you that you're doing a good job. You really don't need people to tell you that you're doing a good job. You know you're doing a good job. You know you're trying your best. Don't allow people to tell you, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. The moment you do that, it's no longer your creation. It's no longer your personal project because you're bringing somebody else's, perspective into it. It becomes less pure, right? Now, if I told you to, give me insight into, what I should do for the show or what I should do for the podcast, would it be my podcast still? If I took that information? No. This is 100% mine. This is my podcast. This is my thoughts, my life, my perspective. And even though I would like to do some form of, interviewing or talking about other people's lives or perspectives, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it the way I know how to do it. And that's my way. Most people shriek at the idea of not having some sort of validation, right? They're like, oh no, how am I supposed to know whether or not I'm doing good or, people like it? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The best advice is no advice. And do what feels organic for yourself. Like, do what feels the most organic. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to be the most polarizing thing. That's what's going to be your authentic self. Okay? Staying true to yourself, being organic, and not, virtue signaling or seeking validation or seeking attention or seeking praise. That's going to be your success. That's going to be your truth. You can't do things for other people to feel happy because you'll never please everybody. People will be mad at you for doing something that other people like. Then those people that you try to please, you try to do something that they like and other people will be mad at you. Well, then who are you doing it for? Me personally, I'm doing this for me, right? I wouldn't be doing it for anybody else. I'm not doing it for my family. I'm not doing it for my son or my wife. I'm doing this 100% for me. Ooh, well, that's selfish. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because at the end of the day, this is what I have. This is not only just a hobby, but it's something that means something to me. This is also my contribution, right? Because I'm not just taking, right? I'm not just taking from somebody or taking from something. I'm giving you something. I'm giving you my perspective, my thoughts, my words, my time, my energy. I'm giving it to you for free. So definitely detach from validation. Don't allow the exterior yays and nays or the exterior positives or negatives to dictate what you do with your life or your time. People will always have something positive or negative to say about what you do because art is subjective, and this is art, okay? This is not real life, okay? I'm giving you something. I'm giving you a peek into my universe. I'm giving you a peek into my life, but it's not 100% fully on display. There is a version of me you don't get to see. There is a version of me that you don't know. And because of that, it's art. It's an expose, right? So it's subjective. Like it, love it, hate it. Who cares? But at the end of the day, it's mine. You don't get to change it. And I don't care whether you like it or love it or hate it. I'm not seeking validation. I'm not attaching myself to it. Now, another way to help you grow in your success after the hype dies down and the validation isn't there, or people are not subscribing or liking or enjoying what your art is using small wins to stay in motion. Let me just break off here for a moment before I continue with what I have set up. I had to record this episode not once, not twice, but this would be the third time I've recorded it. So there were other versions of this, other things I've said. For the most part, I have talking points, right? A list of things I'd like to go over with you, but most of it I ad-lib, okay? What does that mean? That most of this just comes off the top of my head as I go through a list of things that I talk about. The first time I did this, I had some technical difficulties, right? And I had to roll with it. Okay, re-record. The second time I recorded, there was some noise in the background that I didn't like, and I had to kind of edit that out, and the way it was being edited, it just didn't work out. So here I am, third time recording. I could have been on episode 6, but instead I'm on episode 3. Now, regardless, those little imperfections that I'm trying to correct, or even the small things that I'm doing to make sure that each episode goes accordingly and as planned, for me, feel like a win, right? If I can bring you quality, if I can bring you 100% myself, right? Bring good energy to the table, bring good energy to you, then I'm doing my job. I feel like I'm doing a service. I'm doing something that's worthwhile. Now, if I sit here and just whatever, am I really doing good? Am I really helping? Am I really bringing a positive energy to you? No. I have to care, first of all, to be here. Okay? I can't just half-ass it or go through the motions, because if I did, you would be able to tell. Okay? And when I speak, I try to speak with passion, I try to speak with authenticity, and I try to speak with truth, because I'm living it. This is my life, okay? At least a sliver, a little slice. You get a piece. Now, the one thing I will say is that because I'm bringing that energy, there's a type of quality that I have to bring with that energy. So I give you 100% of me when I'm here. Whether it's my voice or the camera, you're getting that 100%, okay? So using small wins to stay in motion, getting back to that, is break big goals into tiny, doable actions. Celebrate micro progress. All right? Now, the way I see it, I say that a lot, by the way. That's why I named the podcast the way I see it. The way I see it is that when you break those big goals up into little micro progress goals, you're building step by step. You don't just jump 10 feet into the air. You take little steps up a staircase. That's a trick. As long as you can take a step up each day, each week, each month, each year, that's progress. That's success. People don't make leaps and bounds overnight. It seems that way. It looks that way. But guess what? That's because you're getting this from an outsider's perspective. Unless you're in that little group that's doing the big leaps and bounds, you're going to see the small little steps in between, the little calculated moves, because each day is a step forward or a step backwards, depending on how you treat each day. If you give up on one day, you're taking a step back. Now, if you keep going and keep trudging along, showing up for yourself each and every day, that's progress. That's success. You're going to win. Don't give up. That's the problem. People give up halfway through because they're not seeing what they envision in their mind. They're not seeing the results. And sometimes it's just too hard to see because we beat ourselves up about being perfect. None of us are perfect. You take any person that's out there, I don't care who he or she is, none of us are perfect, and we're all doing our best. We're all giving it 100%. Some of us more than others. But don't give up because you don't see the results right away. Keep going day by day, week by week, month by month, and year by year. I remember my dad had this quote. And it was because my dad was trying to find his spirituality. He was trying to be a good Christian. And the whole point of this quote was, how often can you be a good Christian? How often can you be a good person, a good Christian? And if it's not week by week, then day by day. And if you can't be a good Christian day by day, be a good Christian, hour by hour. If not, be a good Christian moment by moment. That's the way to do it. Step by step. Micro successes. Small wins every day. Now, there is a time to rest and relax and allow yourself to enjoy your life. The next thing I want to talk about is called rest without quitting. Okay, you have to rest. There are just moments in your time here. There are moments in your day or your week or your month or your year that you have to rest, but rest without quitting. Burnout is real. Stepping back is not failure. Learn to pause without giving up. Trust the process. The one thing I know people do is they get complacent in their rest, or they rest on their accomplishments, or they do something and then they stop because they're taking a little bit of a break or they're resting, and then poof, just like that, gone. What happened? They got comfortable. But you can rest so long as you allow yourself to get back up after resting and moving on, doing the thing that you need to do. Rest without quitting is so important. So important. One thing I will tell you is that you can't allow yourself to get complacent. You can't allow yourself to say, well, I did it. It's done. There's always another day. There's always another week. There's always another month. When you rest and you don't get back up, that is quitting. That is quitting. But rest and then get back up. So many people often watch you just to see if you failed, just to see if you stopped, just to see if you quit. Why give them the satisfaction? Why give anybody the satisfaction of knowing, oh, well, this is where I stopped? What? Why? You don't deserve that. They don't deserve it. So you have to rest without quitting, without allowing that rest to be like a slumber or like a hibernation. You can't just rest forever, okay? You have to keep going, right? You have to have that mindset that, okay, I'm going to sit for a little bit, but I have to get back up. Trust the process. That's another one. The dip is part of the process. The dip is part of it. Not a detour, but a path itself. Keep going. Even if it's quiet. Even if no one's clapping for you. Especially if it's quiet. Starting is hard, but starting over is even harder. Those are my thoughts for the dip. So many people wish me well and want to see me keep going, but if I quit now, I'm letting those people down. But that's the way I see it. I'm Jeremiah. Thank you for listening, and if you're watching, thank you for watching.